There's several types of HVA systems, and the appropriate selection of system varies, of course, with the building size and its type of use. Your textbook has this great chart here. What is it? Figure 16.14W. All right, so open that up and we're going to briefly take a look at these different types of systems. Let's start out with the HVAC systems that are appropriate for these small buildings, the ones on the small end of the range, all right? And the very smallest is a window or a wall unit, all right? When we talked about direct refrigerant distribution system, this is what we're talking about. The window or the wall unit you're probably familiar with. It is specifically for one room or space only and is very commonly a heat pump. It's a little bit harder to run your fuel, your natural gas, or your heating oil to this small individual unit. Right. The next one that is most common for a whole house system, all right, but can also be used for a small office building or school, or for a zone, a particular area in a larger building, is the central air split package system. All right, and they're talking about air to air distribution. So let's take a closer look at that. On our outside, all right, we have a compressor and a condenser unit, right? And that is being air cooled, and therefore our heat is being sunk or rejected into the outside atmosphere, all right? On the inside of the house or building is our air handling unit. Right, take a look. They've got some abbreviations here if you need those. Air handling unit. Right, and so our refrigerant liquid is being transferred between these two pieces. That's why it's a split system. All right, they're in two different locations. Right. Then in the air handling unit on the inside, we have a fan running with here's our supply air, all right, and it's being cooled or heated, all right, and then being delivered out to your different spaces. Right. The advantages of this particular system are that the compressor and condenser are located outside. They are noisy, all right, equipment and ugly. Your air handling unit is located inside, right? And inside the conditioned space, where it's most efficient. And the refrigerant is being transferred between the two using thin, small fluid pipes and not big, bulky air ducts. All right, so this is a really popular system. That's why I'm going into more detail about it. Okay, this system can be a heat pump, in which case in here this compressor and condenser unit would be able to run your refrigeration cycle forwards or backwards in either direction. Or you can combine this system, this split system, as only your cooling system. And then inside here at your air handling unit, you would also include a furnace. Let's move on to the different HVAC systems that are appropriate for your small to medium-sized buildings. And the major one here is the ductless mini split. And no, I can't say that 3 times fast. All right. And what we've got here is your same compressor and condenser unit outside. And then inside, you have multiple air handling units. Okay, they can be individual air handling units for individual rooms. And so this is popular for renovation of buildings that don't already have a cooling system because of the you're running your distribution system again through the pipes of refrigerant, which are much, much smaller than air handling ducts. This ductless mini split is really on the smaller side of things for homes and light commercial buildings. And kind of the downside of it is that you have to provide multiple air handling units, and each compressor and condenser system is really only good for a couple of them, up to four air handling units. So you might need multiple of the compressor and condenser systems. All right. You can enlarge this system. We're moving into the medium size buildings, and by uh, a more complex system, you can also add variable refrigerant flow by setting up your compressors and condensers units in parallel. All right. And finally, let's move to the mid-sized and larger buildings. All right. And so we'll have a larger compressor condenser chiller equipment. All right. Again, that will create chilled water system. So now we're distributing by water. Okay, the refrigerant fluid itself does not travel through the space. It is chilled water. All right, and then that is going to be delivered to individual air handling units, one for each zone of your larger building. Okay, the air handling unit will cool the air, which is then distributed to your spaces. All right, so this is a combination air and water system. Moving to even larger buildings, we can work with the variable air volume system, VAV. All right, let's take a look at this one. We've moved the compressor and condenser inside for this system. All right, and how do we get rid of or how do we dump the heat? Well, we have to add another piece of equipment, and that's the cooling tower. All right, you'll see those located um, typically on a rooftop, but could also be in another location. All right, and that will distribute the heat or pump it to the outside. And so you will also, from the compressor and condenser, you will chill your air in a central air handling unit, right, for the entire building. The air ducts will then run through your building, and at the individual zones um, throughout the building, you will have one more piece of equipment. It's called a VAV, or variable air volume boxes, and that will control the distribution to the individual zones of your building. Finally, let's talk about packaged units. We talked about split packaged units where the compressor and condenser are located maybe outside the space. The air handling unit is located inside the space. Right? But you can also have a packaged unit where the compressor and condenser and the air handling unit are all in one piece. They're one piece of equipment. Right? And this is very common and popular for some commercial and institutional um, buildings, specifically flat roofs, and you just place the package up there on the roof. Each zone of your building will have a separate package, all right? You can place them outside of the building on the ground also, but the roof is really common. Right? And the difference here is that the air is going to be directly distributed into the building. There's no transfer to a different location using the refrigerant tubing or using water. All right, it's an all air distribution system. All right, everybody, in this video we covered heating systems, types of distribution, and some common HVAC system types.